you're doing okay when it comes to generating direct to seller opportunities. And your biggest challenge right now is really just putting the deal together, which means having the right types of investors, making good offers, coming in strong, and really making sure that it's something that's agreeable terms wise, price and terms to the seller, and trying to get to a closing table.
Yes. Mhm.
Okay, so what I would do is you're going to do two things. I would tell you to even continue to double down on the prospecting. I would tell you to generate more opportunities because more opportunities will eventually lead you to the path of finding better quality deals, which will make it easier to sell. Two, we're going to talk about some strategies right now of exactly how to find more buyers, vet them, how to know they're the right, the real deal. And this way you don't waste time with buyers who are actually not going to transact. When we're talking buyers, okay? Number one, all about buyer capacity. So this is creating a list of investors in your local market, all right, or whether it's hyperlocal or your MSA, right? People who are active in the business right now, which means active, that means they bought a deal in the last 12 months and they're looking for another deal right now. You vetted them, which means that hey, you know what they own, because a lot of guys are just like, oh, I spoke to this investor, he's looking for more deals, right? And then that's all you know about them. It's no, I want to know what other properties do they own? Do they own retail? Do they own multifamily? Do they own industrial or anything else? How many properties do they own? What kind of assets do they specifically look for? If some guy you're speaking to, let's say, owns 80 apartments in your local market, and everything he owns is between 5 and 10 apartments, 5 and 10 unit deals, okay? Then bringing this guy a shopping center is going to be really stupid. But if you find a 5 or 10 unit deal within close proximity to another deal he owns, it's probably going to be pretty likely you do some business together. However, the one key thing when it comes to vetting them is understanding how strong, okay, financially, they're able to come to play. Let me explain. I was just on the phone with a guy where his family office that he runs has about $500 million under management. They've been around for 40 years, very strong player. However, a lot of people are like, oh my God, a family office, this is amazing. We can make a bunch of money. And I start asking questions tell me what you've bought recently. Tell me more about those deals. What'd you pay for it? Price per unit, right? A lot of, they buy a lot of multifamily. And he starts going on and he says, listen, we just bought a 60 unit apartment deal in a good area, in an area that I sell a lot of property. And he goes, we're buying it for 75 grand a door. Mind you, this is a 200 grand a door market. And I'm like, how? I'm not going to find this guy 75 grand a door deals. Right. So he keeps telling me about these amazing deals he's buying, 75 grand a door, 100 grand a door, 80 grand a door. I'm like, who the is finding you these deals? Because I'm not finding that. And he's like, oh yeah, just let me know when you find, towards the end of it, he's like, yeah, I know, because I was like, okay, there's no way that I'm going to do that. He's like, oh yeah, just let me know if you find anything. I'd love to do some business together. I'm not. The likelihood that I'm going to find this guy a good opportunity for us to do a deal is slim to none. It doesn't matter that he's has $500 million worth of real estate and he's buying $50 to $100 million worth of deals every year. I'd love to do deals with him, but his buy box is freaking impossible. So I just calling a spade, right? Obviously I love to do some business, but there's just no way. No one's going to find that kind of quality product. I mean, I talked to other investors and yeah, look, we buy anything from 20 units to 500 units, 10 caps or better. I'm like, where on planet Earth are you buying property? Because it's not anywhere I've ever seen. Just keep in mind that when I say vetting them, it's not just do they have the money. I want to vet them to the extent of what is the likelihood that we're going to transact. Okay. Did they just buy a property within the last 12 months? And what price did they pay price per door, right? If we're just talking multifamily for a second, because I know you're looking for multis, right?
Yeah, that's what I mainly do multis. I did come across a buyer, it's funny, a few days ago. They're interested in RV parks.
So keep in mind, I just want to let you know, you will come across a lot of different buyers, a very large spectrum of buyers. It's important to really take an extra few minutes to vet them, to know hey, again, is this going to be somebody we're going to transact with? Or is this going to be somebody who's an absolute complete waste of my time?
That's something I need to learn too, yeah.
Yeah, that family office sounds sexy to work with. I'm not transacting with this guy. Well, I might never do a deal with him. The odds of us doing a deal together are slim to none. But then I speak to other people and they're like, yeah, look, I'm looking for, I literally, we were just on the phone with somebody. They're looking for deals between $3 million and $10 million. They want to buy a deal within the next 30 days. They own several buildings, dozens of properties, okay? And they want to buy at least a 6.25 cap in my market. That's very achievable. The odds of us transacting are actually pretty high. So it's like
Right.
I'm going to spend, and I have my team members working tooth and nail to find this guy a deal. Because if we find a deal at 6% commission, even at 3 million, let alone 10 million, it's already 180,000 bucks. Of course, we're going to try to work pretty hard to find that. So it's
Yeah.
like it's really doing a little bit more than the average realtor, okay, when it comes to vetting their buyer. That's one. Two, don't get starry-eyed. What I mean by this is like this RV park. Like number one, have you ever spoken to somebody who owns an RV park?
I don't believe I have. No.
So it's just like, listen, like maybe it doesn't make sense to start with RV parks right now. So what I'm
Mhm.
saying is like it might sound really sexy to do deals with all these random things you might hear, right? And then you hear a random guy who goes, "Oh, I'm looking to buy liquor stores." Then you hear it from another guy who's like, "Oh, I buy self-storage units." Oh, then you talk to another guy and he randomly just says that I like to buy industrial buildings. And then another guy says retail, and then all of a sudden you're all over the freaking place. So down the road, I believe that's very important. I actually think that you should understand how to sell deals, all different types of asset classes. I'm not saying over time to not do that. I'm saying day one, year one, right now, let's get you to close some deals, right? So that you can, invest in building an organization, a team that can support you in doing other types of deals, right? When they come across your plate. Right now, if we're choosing multifamily, I don't care. Again, it sounds like you've had some decent experience there, so I would probably continue with that. The one challenge with multifamily is that it's very saturated. One. And two, especially in California, a lot of people, sellers want an astronomical price.
Yeah, they do.
They want a crazy price. So you need to find buyers who are willing to pay crazy prices. So what I would
Right.
do is that I would use your software. You said you have PropStream and your yeah, you could probably do it on PropStream. But however, I'd probably tell you to get rid of if you want to do commercial deals, instead of using PropStream, I would use Reonomy.
Okay. Yeah, I saw that in the
Like
okay.
this way, like I'm not telling you to spend more money. I would just shift the money you're already spending. PropStream, if you want to do very small multis, like 2, 3, 4 units, then PropStream's a really good place to find that data for sure. It's just depending on what you want to sell. 2, 3, and 4 families, by the way, I've made millions of dollars selling them and flipping them. So like I actually recommend that you realize that like you don't actually have to sell a 50 unit deal to make a lot of money. So if you want to just start with 2, 3, 4, 5 unit deals, you can use PropStream, totally fine. But then what I would do in your local markets is saying, hey, who are the people who are in the last 12 months bought multifamilies, 2, 3, 4, 5 unit deals?
And
Okay.
that's my question. And just to be specific, so then, so you could find these buyers also on PropStream or like Reonomy, like you said. Is that where you're going to find the buyers as well?
I'm looking at people who bought property in the last 12 months. Like, let's make it really simple, right?
Right.
If I
Okay.
want to find a buyer, I'm going to go look at people who have bought property in the last 12 months, which shows me they're active today. And then I'm also then going to look at, I want to see people who bought at least 2 or 3 properties in the last 3 years. So it's like
Okay.
if they bought 2 properties in the last 12 months, they're really active. So it's like, okay, I want to see whose LLCs are to the top, who own the most, what LLCs own the most properties, who's transacting the most frequently, and at what price are they paying? So it's like I'm going to try to find. Let's say you're looking for to try to sell a 5 unit deal, and you can see all the 5 unit deals are trading for anywhere between 200 grand a door and 300 grand a door, $1 million to $1.5 million in your local market. It's like okay, we know now that we know what the market looks like. Let's see what the last 12 months of activity looks like. Let's just say that you see 30 properties that traded, 5 families that have sold in the last 12 months. Okay, between $1 million and $1.5 million. I'm going to call all the guys who paid 1.5. I want to call top of the market guys, and
Mhm.
I want to call the two things. One, people who pay the most and people who buy the most, right?
Okay. That makes
It's
sense.
a perfect blend, right? So I'm
Right.
going to call them up and I want to become their best friend,
That
right?
could help. That'll help for those low ball offers.
Yeah, but also like
Yeah.
not even for lowball. These are people who are going to actually strategically buy a lot of deals. And we don't need to wholesale everything. I just want them to be able to qualify, be able to buy it and take it down and close. So I'm not just wasting my time with a bunch of people who aren't going to make me money. It's taking the necessary steps to vet them, use the software the way it's meant to be used, right? Build up a list of buyers and then specifically prospect for those buyers. So like let's say you're doing the greater Los Angeles MSA, LA County. Obviously, you have a lot of ground you can cover there. Now, we take that entire market, and I can see, right? I'll even share my screen here for a brief moment. Give me 1 minute. So, Los Angeles County, I didn't do any other sorting yet, so I'm just going to go to more filters. This is Reonomy, by the way. You can go to multifamily. I'm going to do multifamily general, and let's say I do sales within the last 12 months. Okay, I want owner with a phone number so I can call them. And then I also want to go to property like for units. I'm going to do 5 to 8. I'll do 5 to 10. 1,386 properties sold in the last 12 months for 5 to 10 unit deals in Los Angeles County. And you have a phone number to call. So now what happens is watch this. Now I'm going to hit apply. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort by, I'm also, before we even do this, give me 1 second. I'm also, all right, I'll talk about that afterwards. But anyways, watch this. I can go to sort. I can go to sales price. Okay. High to low. 8 units, 23 million, 23. That's also, it looks like a portfolio. 14.4 million, 13.55, 10.2, 7.2. I have all these people here who paid crazy premiums, 500 grand a door or more, 400 grand a door or more. Okay. And I can see all their contact information. So it's like I can even
The
see
LLC and yeah, the 20
everything.
contract.
Yep.
Okay.
I have it all here. And you can go town by town, county by county. You can do whatever you want here. But I would tell you, watch this. Now I can go to owners and I can see people like this person, James Parker, at the top here. I'd give him, look, he owns 8 properties within our search criteria. He has 11 properties total in his portfolio. Call this man. Okay. He just bought something in December of 2024, right? He's very active. I would call this person too. This person here owns 8 properties as well. $20+ million portfolio, just closed something in January, right? You can see all these people have had, own a lot of property. Look at this, 62 properties in our search.
Wow.
Just bought something in February,
February.
right? These are the people that I would say, like, if you're calling multifamilies, you need to know every single one of these people. Does that
Okay.
make sense? Don't make it complicated. These people are literally, it's public information. They're literally screaming. They're waving a flag. I buy multifamily properties in your local market. Bring me a deal. That's what they're saying to you.
And
Right?
I'm sure, I mean, not that it's totally necessary, but do you have some sort of script? I know you have, is there a script? I know you have multiple scripts under the Millionaires Club.
Yep.
But do you have something for buyers? Just like a quick, or is there something?
I think it should be on that sheet. If it's not, it will probably, it'll be one of those things that'll be created within a short period of time. Yeah.
But basically just introductory, how you doing?
Yeah, don't make it complicated. Like, listen, it'd be like, hey, Bob the buyer, right? My name is Leon. I'm a local broker in the market. I know you get calls like this all the time. I'm actually not looking to sell you anything. What I am calling you about is I have an off-market deal similar to stuff that you've bought in the past. Do you have 2 minutes to talk about a deal real quickly, or would you like me to call you back with more details?
Okay.
That's it. Do you have 2 minutes to talk about a deal or an off-market deal right now? Yes. Okay, great. Listen, are you in front of a computer? Yes. Address is 123 Main Street. Blah blah blah. It's a 5-unit multifamily deal. The guy wants 200 grand a door. They're all 2-bedroom apartments. It's all rented out currently. The guy brings in $85,000 a year gross income. It's all separately metered utilities. He wants an offer ASAP. I've already presented him with an offer before that he's declined. He says he needs an offer for $1 million to sell it. Is this in the ballpark? You know, I see you own a property a block away, and that's it. And you do that 25 times a day, and you're going to get somebody who makes you an offer every day.
Nice.
You know,
I'm learning a lot so far. That's that's awesome.
Don't make it complicated, right? Like literally the cool thing, the thing that I love about real estate is that it's all out there. It's all public information. I can find any investor in any local market who's bought something the last 12 months or 35 years ago. And I can call them up and I can say, I can see when they bought it. I can see, unless obviously it's a non-disclosure state, but thankfully California is a disclosure state. So you can see what they paid for it and when they bought it. So you can be like, oh, you buy 6-unit deals in this area for this price per unit because you just bought it. So if I bought you another one, would you be open to the idea? And you're going to find somebody who does every time. Now, look, the only time that you're ever going to have trouble is when one of two things occur. Number one, you're bringing a deal that actually sucks and they want too much money. Because there's only two options. Either your deal sucks, which means you didn't underwrite it, you didn't evaluate it, right? You don't know what it's worth, and you think it's worth more than actually what it's truly worth, right? So you're bringing a deal that's actually overpriced to these investors, right? So either your deal sucks, or number two, your buyer is the problem. Your buyer sucks, right? You're bringing a deal, a possible good deal, but you're trying to fit a round peg in a square hole. The guy's like, hey, I don't buy 5-unit deals anymore. I only buy 30 or more unit properties, right? And they're like, oh, it's not that good of a deal. But the reason why they say it's not that good of a deal is because they only buy brand new construction. And this deal needs a lot of work. Or they only buy stuff that needs a lot of work, and this deal is brand new construction. The point is there's some nuance to it, and you need to make sure you read between the lines, which is like, hey, actually, I'm specifically looking for value add 5 to 10 unit deals between $200 and $300,000 a unit. Ideally, we don't buy any deals with studios. There needs to be parking, and ideally, we want to make sure that it doesn't have any septic systems and it has no, this or this. You know what I mean? Like, you want to be as specific as possible so that when you get the deal, Leon, you're like, oh, this deal's perfect for Bob, and you're like, because you've already had the conversation. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. And just real quick on your prospecting, like I said, I mean, I know you have, all different types of classes, the class A, B, and C. Yep. And then I guess I was wondering, do you specialize in any particular property type as far as like, distressed, expired, foreclosed? Is there anything you focus on or recommend?
Yeah. So let me be clear. At this point, we can't just focus on one right now, because like we are prospecting hundreds of thousands of people a month. So there is not one specific motivation quality that is going to have enough opportunity for my entire team to prospect. Okay, so that's one. Two, for somebody like yourself, right? I think prospecting multifamily properties is an okay thing to do, and I started in multifamily. That was the first asset class I started really working on. I've owned lots of multifamily properties, right? I've flipped a lot of multifamily properties. I brokered a lot of multifamily properties. It was the first asset class that I did a deep dive on, and it started with me selling single family rentals, then 2, 3s, and 4s, and then it was eventually a 13 unit, and then a 16 unit, and so on and so forth. And it grew from there. Keep in mind, I made a lot of money flipping 2s, 3s, and 4s, and then 5s and 10 unit deals, like small stuff, right? I still own a bunch of small multifamilies today from all those times ago, all that time ago. It's important for you to think you don't need to be calling 17 different asset classes. And also keep in mind that it's the same game no matter what asset class you choose. And then the problem becomes you then have to find more buyers for those people. And then you have to speak their lingo, right? So the more asset classes and diverse that you get, which I believe you should do over time. I'm a huge fan of being a multi asset class investment sales broker, right? I sell everything. Okay. If it makes money, I sell it. That's our vibe here. Okay. So 100%, I believe every single person should eventually start breaking out and start selling multiple different asset classes. It's weird to me that you wouldn't sell an industrial building that's right next to a multifamily property you just sold. However, at the very beginning of your career, to try to sell all these different types of asset classes and learning the nuances and all these different types of things takes a lot of time. And right now, I'd rather you just start closing some deals, and there's plenty of money to be made in the multifamily space alone.
That's why I'm here. Yeah, man. I'm trying to close some deals. So
don't complicate it yet. You can complicate it later. So, but let's start right now and say hey, let's just get really focused. Let's start selling. I don't care if you're flipping 2 family deals, dude. I've made hundreds of that. I made over 6 figures several occasions on small multifamily deals that I flipped, right? So, and or broker, right? So it just keep in mind, it doesn't have to be this really complex thing. You just find a lot of great opportunities and then find a great buyer to bring it to, and do that as many times as you possibly can, as fast as you can.
All right. So that was my next question. So just pretty much focus on that. Don't really worry about the wholesaling aspect or when to wholesale or anything else.
You'll learn that. I would tell you right now, let's just make some money. But in the program, tomorrow's training, you jump on at 12 noon Eastern, right, or 9 a.m. PST, you will see me underwrite deals. And I will talk about saying, hey, if you got it at this price, you should wholesale it. If you get it at this price, you should off-market broker it. If the seller wants this price, then you should list it. If the price is this good, then maybe you should buy it and find a way to raise some money. Everything's not a straightforward yes or no until you run the numbers. I will absolutely tell you there will be an opportunity you come across in your lifetime that you should either buy it or you should wholesale it, right? You're going to make, there's way too much of a spread for you just to off-market broker to make 5 or 6%.
Right.
But I do, you don't have to think about every deal as a wholesale deal right now. Right now, it's just, can I get enough opportunities in front of enough buyers' faces and people interested enough to make an offer and put it in writing so I can bring it to the seller? That's all I want you to think about, is just get the process down. And then once you get the process down, we can worry about focusing on how much money you make on every deal.
Okay.
Cool?
Yeah. Yep.